Los Angeles Rams won this game with a final score of 30-22. But I do want to, state my case and say that I actually did have the Rams winning this game. Not to sound like LeBron, not to give off that air of, I knew for sure that the Rams were winning. No, I didn't know. It was just a hunch. I thought that they would do well because of their victory last week and the fact that they've been rolling after Stafford came back. They've put together a very nice playoff push, and the Saints are kind of just a sorry team. They're not doing that well, even though both teams entered the game at 7-7. I just felt a lot more confidence about the Rams, and part of that comes with my own stakes. If you watch any of my fantasy football videos, you'll know that I currently have Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Kyren Williams riding for my playoff team, and I need them all to do very well in order to salvage my season and move into the championship. So, yeah, for those reasons, I thought that the Rams would win that game, and they did. So I get to say that I was right. But yeah, hindsight is 2020. So, moving on from that, we will move into the Saturday slate. We've got a couple games on Saturday this week. First up will be the Cincinnati Bengals challenging the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bengals are at 8-6 and the Steelers at 7-7. Right now, the entire AFC North sits up at 500 or above. They're all in the playoff picture. The Bengals are being led by Jake Browning, who has done a good job of winning them quite a few games after Joe Burrow went down. And the Steelers on the other side are being led by, I think it's Mason Rudolph at this point. Mitch Trubisky wasn't cutting it, so they benched him, or he got hurt. I'm not quite sure which is the case, but there's a lot of dysfunction on that Steelers team right now. There's a lot of conflicting things about what is going on. I actually am very curious to see what Steelers fans' opinion are of Mike Tomlin. As a outside observer, I always thought that Mike Tomlin was an amazing coach. He's never had a losing season, finished at 500 or better in each one of his seasons, and that is quite an accomplishment. So, yeah, just as an opponent and a general watcher of the NFL, I always thought that Tomlin was fantastic, but I've been seeing some complaints. I've been seeing that some fans want to get rid of him, and they're hoping that a losing season will spark that. So, if you're a Steelers fan, just let me know what are your thoughts and feelings about Mike Tomlin. But yeah, that being said, I do think that the Steelers are going to lose this game. I think that Tomlin is at risk of snapping his streak in this season, because if they lose this game, the Steelers will have to win their last two matchups to retain what Tomlin has put together. So I don't know how likely that is. The Bengals, on the other hand, they've been surprisingly adequate after Joe Burrow went down, and they're at 8-6. They control their own destiny still, and they're going against like Mason Rudolph. So I think that they should be able to get it done. After that, you've got the 8-6 Buffalo Bills traveling to Los Angeles to face off against the Chargers, who are 5-9. The Buffalo Bills just dominated the Dallas Cowboys, and the Chargers just allowed the Las Vegas Raiders to put up a franchise record in points. Mind that the week before, the Raiders got shut out by the Vikings. So, in 1 week, they went from 0 points to 63, the most they've ever scored. And for that, you can thank the Chargers roster and Easton Stick. Yeah, the Chargers are a hot pile of garbage. They are not good at all. Completely disappointing season. The Bills, on the other hand, they haven't had the season that they've been hoping for, but they looked great last week, and I think that they definitely get it done against this Chargers team. Yeah. Moving into the Sunday slate, you've got the 8-6 Indianapolis Colts traveling to Atlanta to play against the 6-8 Atlanta Falcons. after Anthony Richardson went down, they've been doing well. Gardner Minshew is one of the top tier backups in the league. He has this Colts team rolling right now. They just handed Pittsburgh a hefty loss last week, and they get to go against a Falcons team that just lost to the worst team in the league in the Panthers. The Falcons' offense is a mess. They were starting Desmond Ridder, then they benched him for Heineke, then they benched Heineke for Ridder, and now they're benching Ridder for Heineke once again. They don't know how to utilize Kyle Pitts. They don't know how to utilize Bijan Robinson. Everything about the Atlanta Falcons on the offensive side of the ball is just a mess. Their defense is pretty legit, though. I will give them that. They're nice on defense. But the Colts, they're in the winning column. They're 8-6. They are right in the hunt for the top spot of the AFC South. So they just have a lot to play for, and they're a good football team, surprisingly. I didn't expect it, but they are, and we have to give them their credit when it's due. I definitely think that the Colts can win this game, and that they will win this game against the Falcons. After that, you have the 7-7 Seattle Seahawks traveling to Tennessee to face off against the 5-9 Tennessee Titans. The Seahawks just beat the Eagles, who at one point were the best team in the league. They did it with Drew Lock too, with their backup quarterback. Last second victory, huge victory for them, keeps them in the playoff picture. They're fighting for that 7 seed. The Titans, on the other hand, they lost to a very short-handed Texans team, led by, Case Keenum and, Noah Brown. Yeah, they lost it in overtime. So the Titans can't even beat up a banged-up Texans team. Whereas the Seahawks, they might get Geno Smith back. I think that Geno, as well as Drew Lock played, I do think that Geno Smith is a better quarterback, and they are fighting for a playoff spot. They are the better team, and I think that the Seahawks will just topple the Titans in this week's matchup. After that, you have the 10-4 Detroit Lions traveling to Minnesota to face off against the 7-7 Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Lions had a 5-touchdown performance from Jared Goff against the Denver Broncos. Their offense was rolling on all its cylinders, firing on all cylinders, and when the Lions are playing well, they're up there with the best teams. They can have a lot of mistakes, though. I feel like sometimes they have a lot of self-inflicted injuries, with turnovers and things like that. So they're gonna want to limit that. Oh my god, what is happening to my voice? It's becoming whistly. Okay, my bad. Let's see if I can finish this video without whistling too much. But yeah, the Lions, as long as they don't beat themselves, I don't think that the Vikings will do it. Obviously, the Vikings, under Nick Mullins, they were able to get the job done last week, I think. I was still in finals mode. I don't fully recall. Shoot, did they? Actually, I think that the Vikings were playing against the Browns, and I think the Browns won. Okay, maybe scratch that. Maybe they didn't get the job done under Nick Mullins, but I think he posted solid stats, and they're at a very respectable place. I think that they have what it takes to make the playoffs, but not against the Lions. The Lions are just too tough of a competition. They are really good on the offensive side of the ball. Their defense, their run defense is really good. Their passing defense is not the best. So it'll take a lot for the Vikings to win it, and I just don't see them doing that. So yeah, I have the Lions winning that matchup. After that, you've got the Washington Commanders traveling to New York to play against the 5-9 New York Jets. This is like the battle of mid. The Jets, they just lost 30-7 garbage time touchdown to make the score closer, but nonetheless, it was a valiant effort. They only lost by 8 rather than 30, and Jalen Waddle absolutely torched this Jets defense last week, and Sam Howell can really throw the ball, so I think that he will try his best to dice up this Jets defense as good as it might be, and he might have some success based on last week with Matthew Stafford. What am I talking about? Last week with Tua doing what he did against the Jets. If Sam Howell can just lob up some deep balls, maybe he can get the Commanders' offense going. I don't know. Really speaking, I don't care about this game all that much. It's very low stakes. Neither team is worth paying attention to at this point in the season, but someone's got to win, and I think that team will be the Commanders. After that, you have the 6-8 Green Bay Packers traveling to Carolina to face off against the 2-12 Carolina Panthers. I saw a very interesting stat the other day that said the Panthers have led in the fourth quarter for a total of 0 minutes and 0 seconds across all of their games. Considering the fact that they have won 2 games, that is very impressive. But it shows you just how horrific their offensive production is. They cannot go into the fourth quarter with a lead, and the Packers, as bad of a season as they're having, honestly, well, I don't want to say they're having a bad season. Underwhelming. I don't even know. I feel like the Packers are where some people expected the Packers to be at some point during the season. You probably could look at the Packers and think, wow, they're not that bad. But then they just fell apart. So, they're not a bad team. I don't want to say that they're bad, but they're definitely not bad enough to lose to the Panthers. I want to make that clear. I think that they will get this victory fairly easily. After that, you've got the 9-5 Cleveland Browns traveling to Houston to play against the 8-6 Texans. The Browns are operating under the backup Joe Flacco, and they're being really helped out by that stellar defense that they have. The Browns' defense has allowed the least amount of yardage in the NFL by far. The Texans, on the other hand, they're having a very shocking season. I did not expect them to be in the race for the top of the AFC South. And they're doing it without CJ Stroud at the moment. They won last week without him. I don't know if he is able to make his return this week. If he does, that changes a lot. But for the sake of this prediction, I'm going to imagine that CJ Stroud is not playing. So you've got, Case Keenum against Joe Flacco, and then it's a battle between the defenses. I think in that, the Browns' defense is better by a decent margin, and so I have the Browns winning this game. When Deshaun Watson went down, I really thought that their season would come crashing to an end, but it has not, and I'm very surprised. They've been winning game after game, and I think against a backup quarterback, they can definitely get it done. CJ Stroud plays, it's a different story. I might have to swap it, but I cannot predict his injury timeline like that. I don't know what his current status is, so I'm going to go with the Browns winning this game. After that, you've got the Battle of Florida. You've got the 8-6 Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to Tampa Bay to play against the 7-7 Buccaneers. Funny enough, this is the AFC South #1 seed playing against the NFC South #1 seed. Who would have thought that the Buccaneers would be here at this point in the season? I didn't, but they've been having a nice enough season. I won't say that they're doing a perfect job, but last week was very promising. Baker Mayfield posted a perfect passer rating against the Packers, which is loss here would be very costly for the Jaguars. Not only would they lose their one spot, they might lose a shot at the playoffs. So I think they know what's at stake, and they're going to come out with their A game. The Buccaneers, on the other hand, they have the luxury of playing in the NFC South. So even though they might lose this game and fall to 7-8, they would still be the 1 seed over the Saints. So yeah, I think that the Jaguars will get it done, and both teams will keep their current positions. After that, you have the 3-11 Arizona Cardinals traveling to Chicago to play against the 5-9 Chicago Bears. I don't know. I kind of just want to see chaos. I don't have a thorough explanation for why I feel the way that I do about this matchup, but something tells me that the Cardinals are going to somehow come out with a victory here. Yeah, I feel like the Bears, they win sometimes, they lose a lot more. The Cardinals, they haven't won many. They've only won 3 games, and one of them was much earlier in the season. But they did a decent job against the 49ers in terms of points. And I think if they can just score that number of points again, that'll be enough to take down the Bears. Very flawed logic, I know for sure, but as they say, any given Sunday, and I think this will be that given Sunday for the Cardinals. So I've got them taking down the Bears this week. After that, you've got a highly entertaining matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins. This is the number 1 seed in the NFC East playing against the number 1 seed in the AFC East. So, great matchup. Both teams are 10-4. Both teams have been accused of not being able to beat winning teams. So very exciting stuff. We've got a lot on the line here. The Cowboys last week just got pummeled by the Buffalo Bills. A very flat-footed start and just embarrassing game for them. They did such a good job getting to the number 1 spot in the NFC East, and then got absolutely humiliated by the Bills. The Dolphins, on the other hand, they didn't have Tyreek Hill, and they still crushed the Jets. They won 30-0, a shutout victory, and yeah, just looking at their last 2 things. Oh, a fun fact for the Cowboys are undefeated at home, but that also means they have lost all the games that they have lost have come from road games, and they are on the road this week. So the Cowboys are worse when they're on the road. Both teams are the same record. The Cowboys just played very poorly, and the Dolphins just played great. They also get Tyreek back. I think that the Dolphins are going to win this game. After that, you have the 3-11 New England Patriots traveling to Denver to face off against the 7-7 Denver Broncos. Now, this might be a TMI, I might be revealing a little bit too much right here, but I'm actually going to be in attendance at this game. That's right, I am in the Denver area. I am located somewhere in the Denver sub-region of the country at the moment, and before the season began, my family got tickets to this Christmas Eve game between the Patriots and the Broncos, and we were very excited. We obviously had no idea that the Patriots season would turn out the way that it has. The Broncos, I also thought were going to be a playoff team. I thought it was going to be a highly competitive matchup that would have playoff stakes on the line. That might be true for the Broncos, but that is not true at all for the Patriots. However, I'm operating with full bias for my pick in this game. I have to tell you guys, the Patriots have never lost a game in the rare situation where I'm in attendance in games that I have attended and watched them play in real time, live, in person, which is 2 games, by the way. They've won those games, and so they're perfect. They've got their perfect streak, and I think that they're going to continue it. I've got the Patriots beating the Broncos. The Patriots, they beat the Steelers 2 weeks ago, and avoid the 7-7 playoff fighting team just for the hell of it, even if it ruins our draft position ranking. We're just gonna go in there and we're gonna win. And why are we gonna do it? Because I'm at the game. Yeah. But yeah, I really want to see them win. It's gonna be super cold. I think the game temperature at kickoff is gonna be like 20 something degrees. It's gonna be very frigid. I'm gonna be wearing like a onesie to this game, but yeah, who cares about stats and records and all that? The only thing I care about is how I feel about my team, and I think that they can do it. So yeah, I've got the Patriots beating the Broncos this week. Can't even say it with a straight face. But yeah, after that, you've got the Las Vegas Raiders going to Kansas City to face off against the 9-5 Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders, big props to them. I think Antonio Pierce gets another year at head coach, and Aiden O'Connell gets a fair shot at quarterback after his performance last week. They put up a franchise record in points. That's something you really want to celebrate, especially because you're now going against the Chiefs. And Mahomes has absolutely whooped the Raiders in recent history. As good as they played last week, that was against Easton Stick. Mahomes is not Easton Stick. They're gonna get absolutely crushed in this matchup. So yeah, I've got the Chiefs beating the Raiders. After that, you have the 5-9 New York Giants traveling to Philadelphia to play against the 10-4 Eagles. Now I do know that the Eagles have lost their last 3 games, but you have to consider who they're facing. 3 playoff fighting teams. Number 1 was the Niners, number 2 was the Cowboys, and number 3 was the Seahawks. The Seahawks one you can't write off as easily because it was Drew Lock. But the fact still remains that these were all like 500 teams. The Giants, on the other hand, they are not 500, and they're not particularly close to it. I know that Tommy Cutlets is a big underdog story, but I don't think he has this level of underdog charisma to beat a talented Eagles team like this. The Eagles, when they have Matt Patricia running the defense, there is going to be cause for concern, but I think they are really going to reflect on their last 3 losses and correct the ship in this matchup. They're going to want to put together a good run for this last stretch of the season, especially because they know that the Cowboys are playing the Dolphins, and the Eagles and Cowboys right now sit at the same record, but the Cowboys hold the tiebreaker. So with the Dolphins potentially being able to beat the Cowboys in this game, if the Eagles can pick up a victory, a nice little victory against the New York Giants, they can reclaim that 1 spot, and I know that is very valuable to them. So I think they're going to be playing with all of this pressure on their mind. Hopefully it doesn't get to them, but I think that they will be able to rise up to the occasion and get a victory. And lastly, you've got the game of the season. The 11-3 Baltimore Ravens traveling to Santa Clara to play against the 11-3 San Francisco 49ers. Top of the AFC North against top of the NFC West. Top of the AFC against top of the NFC. These are both the number 1 seeds. They have the exact same record. You cannot ask for a better matchup. And when does it take place? Christmas. Like, the script writers really cooked when they came up with this one. This is peak football. It doesn't get much better than this. You really get to figure out who is the best team in football with this matchup right here. So this determines a lot. A key thing to note, 49ers are playing at home. I think that is going to be a big advantage in this game. Along with that, Purdy and Lamar, I know they're both in the MVP conversation, but you also have CMC in the MVP conversation. So just taking a look at how star-studded the 49ers are and how great they've been once again after the trade deadline, it is hard to pick against them, and I'm not going to. I think that the 49ers are going to beat the Ravens, and that's not even a knock on the Ravens. They've had a great season despite the major injuries. J.K. Dobbins out for the year, Mark Andrews out for the year, and you don't really have like a wow factor player on that offense outside of Lamar. And yet still they stand at 11-3. So by no means are the Baltimore Ravens frauds or a sorry team. They are really a great football team, and maybe they'll prove me wrong and they'll win this game. But I just think the Niners have too much. The rich are too rich in this situation, and I think that they're going to get the victory. But I think it's going to be a great matchup.